All right,
Whoop.
guys. Whoopsie daisy. I saw the comments that Mr. Vacation was making. I didn't trip over a cord. However, I was having some technical difficulties. For some reason on my new iMac, my mouse wasn't working, so maybe I need to charge it. It was working for a second. But anyway, hi everyone. Angela O'Hare here, your favorite Las Vegas realtor. Sorry, we are late. Technical difficulties. And I have with me.
Hey, I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor with Elite Realty. I'm the realtor, you're the rock star, and we're not technical geniuses, but we made it this far.
Yes. So if the two people that are watching, thank you for waiting. Can you hear us now? Or are we live? Can you hear us? Maybe
Yay.
a couple of the comments was maybe the feds raided the place. Come on, I bet it be somewhere in January. Yeah. So 10 minutes late. How embarrassing are we? But I'm on my laptop now. Rob's on his what, iPad?
I am.
Cool.
I got it this way now, though. And I got a reminder to look here. Because if I don't look here, I look like this.
Your
Yeah.
hair is growing.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it does. I'm catching up to you.
Yeah, you'll be as long as me soon. But if I keep on growing it, it'll be you won't ever catch up to me.
That's okay. Fair enough.
Our hair's probably pretty much the same, wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I figure at this point in life, you just got to do what you want to do. Life goes by in a blink.
Right?
And, as long as you're with things, people get you. It's all
Yeah.
good.
I know mine's getting super curly. I mean, if you look underneath, it's just like tons of
Yeah, that's where all my curl is, girl.
curl. Anyway, so welcome to the Robin and Real Estate Hour, where today we are going to be talking about tips for buying and selling real estate in the Las Vegas market for fall of this year. I also wanted to throw in a couple of other things, especially about we want to talk about how the market's going and what we foresee what's going on with the Las Vegas real estate market as of today. So Rob, I wrote my tips. I wrote like 5 for each. So
Okay.
we can compare notes.
Yep.
So let's what is your first tip for buying this year in the fall season?
Okay. First tip. Uh, well, it's some of these are general. So I'm gonna say my first tip is so I didn't really write it as first and second, third, but let me see which is my favorite here. Um, I think my first tip is less competition. Um, if you're a buyer and you're out looking for a property in the fall and into the winter, into the holidays, you're generally gonna have less competition.
But that's general. So we are thinking about what do we expect for future of this whole pandemic era for fall of 2021. Do you expect less competition again this fall as a traditional market?
So I don't think that it's going to be a traditional. We're not back to suddenly being traditional where you're going to have like listings, just kind of a bunch of listings that you can choose from, and a lot of them aren't great. But you're going to have a version of this, just in still a hot market, but not this historic, these historic paces that we've been dealing with. That's my thought here, is that it will be better than what we've been seeing.
Right.
um, and I think I'm seeing that even sellers are still kind of pushing property on the market. um, so I think there's going to be a little bit more inventory like we've been saying. And um, if you can brave the rapids that are the holidays and all the busyness of this time of year that people get into, whether it's kids being back in school and all the things that are transpiring in people's lives, and go out and be a buyer right now, that's why I think you'll have less competition, because some of those people will decide now's not the time.
Right. And before the number one tip for me, before you even get started, regardless of what season it is, before you even call us, is that you need to be talking, unless you need a referral to a lender, but you need to be talking to a lender and you need to be pre-approved by a lender. Now, there's a difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. A pre-qual is only when you call the lender and you give them like basic scenarios of how much you make. You don't provide any of the actual paperwork. Where pre-approval, you have to do the whole shebang: income, W-2s, taxes, social, etc. And then that's when the lender is going to
Yeah.
say you are 100% good to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have no problem with somebody calling me before they do that because I love when they work with my lender.
Right.
It just makes my life so much easier. There is really no other benefit other than that we have a synergy, and I know I can trust what this person is saying, and I also know how they deal with my clients
Right.
at a
We know
high
that they can
level.
get the deal down. We know that
Yep.
they can get the deal done.
If they can't, I'm going to know that also. So if
Yeah.
there is a problem or things that need to be done well ahead of time, this is why that's such a great tip. No matter what, when you're looking to buy, you got to get lender. Well, I say real estate for realtor first, but lender is going to be in that equation immediately, because we're going to say, great, I can start setting you up with these things. If we have some parameters we already know. If you don't, then we're going to get you with the lender. Then we're going to figure out those parameters, and those parameters, like you said, may include, things that the lender has to figure out before they're actually fully approved. That is a possibility. Some people are, bam, they're ready to roll. We love those people. We love all the people that we have to deal with.
Yeah. And I think, after that, then if you don't have an agent already in this market, you're going to need an agent that knows how to maneuver this market, that is well versed in this market, and knows how to get the deal done.
yeah. Oh, for
Period.
sure.
Period. I mean, if you're working with agents that aren't comfortable writing multiple offers or have been in a multiple offer situation, you need to have an agent that is well versed in what's going on with the market.
Yeah, I would say I would do not envy new agents right now at all. It's very difficult times. A lot of people get into real estate thinking, oh, this is the low hanging fruit time and whatever. But I think I've noticed that buyers and sellers, they really want somebody that's experienced on their side right now, in particular because of how difficult it can be. And if you don't have somebody who knows what they're doing, like you said, it can be a different experience.
Right. So what was your other tip?
Well, again, braving the holidays. Some of the things, these were, I really came up with more general ideas.
Right.
um, I think that sellers can be more reasonable at this time of year because, in my experience, there is a reason why they're putting their property on the market at this time of year, rather than waiting to the spring. So they can be ones that they have a motivation, they want to get the deal done, and they're just a little bit more reasonable on what they expect. So that always helps if you're the buyer to feel like, um, and part of that reasonable is that we have holdovers, if you will, from the summer that didn't sell. They weren't able to sell these properties. They overlisted. I mean, I've got one right now, the offer in on. They listed it for, currently it's $100,000 less than what they listed it for.
Wow.
And it's only right now it's only at 400,000. So they listed it for 500,000, and now they're down to 400,000 and still getting no activity. So that's just a massive overlist. And they were just looking for somebody who was begging them to, throw me all your money. And well, now those people are coming down to earth. You see them as they went to 450, they went to 425, 415. Now they're at 400.
Well, here's the
So
biggest problem when sellers do this is because if you don't have your home sold in the first 2 weeks, it becomes a stale home. And when it becomes a stale home, sellers or buyers are going to think there's something wrong with the property. In my opinion, my tip as a buyer is pay attention to those homes that have been on the market for 30 days or more. That's when you're going to be able to get a deal.
yeah, certainly you should. There's no harm in trying. That's for sure. Now, some of these sellers are going to be very stubborn, and that's what you'll run into sometimes. But you will find that sometimes the levee is ready to break,
Right.
and they have actually done themselves no favors, in my opinion, and I think you would agree, by overlisting their property, overpricing it, and really during this time of historic activity that you didn't get an offer in your first 2 weeks. Um, look, there are properties that are a little tougher even in a great market, and that's going to be okay if it's on the market longer. But if it's directly related to your pricing, and that is really the big reason, then it's pretty obvious in my opinion.
Yeah, and we'll get into the tips for selling, but
Yep.
for buying, my tip too, even though the market is, in my opinion, cooling, and if you are a buyer in this market and you see a property that is like checks all your boxes, I would jump on it sooner rather than later instead of waiting to see how long it's going to stay on the market because
Yeah.
those properties are still selling.
Yeah, for sure. And that is, well, that's on the seller tip side too. I got points that I can make there. Um, as a buyer, you see something good, there's going to be other people who see the exact same thing, and it's not just one or two like it is in more traditional times. It's 10. There are 10 people looking at that property going, I like it too, and I'm going to put an offer in. Um, you know,
Right.
that's what it feels like, at least, and sometimes that is the exact reality.
Right. And being an agent or an experienced agent, um, my other tip is put in your best offer first to begin with.
Mhm.
Start with your best offer to begin with, even though that, again, the market is softening. Put what you think is your best offer and you feel is fair. As agents, we will run comps to ensure that you're not going to be overpaying for the property. We're going to go over the last 6 months sales to see what's been selling in that neighborhood specifically to make sure you don't overpay for the property. And that ties back to having an experienced agent also.
Yeah, I mean, I got a question. This is something that will inform within the question that I'm asking, I think. So I know that. What do you think the percentage was of over appraisal that people were having to pay in the last few months? Was that like almost all of the deals that you were doing or seeing out there?
Well, in the last month or 2, I haven't seen any of that. My clients haven't been paying over appraisal. They have not been waiving appraisal contingency.
Okay.
Now, back in spring, that was a whole nother ballgame.
That's okay. So it's still okay. So this is that's perfect to the point here. It is it is happening, but not nearly as much.
Right.
And so this is another buyer tip. I think that's going to get this is where it gets a little easier, more reasonable, if you will, that for you to go in and not have to put all this excess money into the pot. Um, Now, I will tell you, there are in the condos in the certain lower price ranges, it's still happening down there, and it seems to be like going crazy right now. In that, and
Yeah,
people are having to pay above appraisal to win
because
out.
that's what people can afford, and unfortunately, that's the game. But when we're seeing the 400 and up price point, it's a little different.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Or actually maybe 500 and up because the 400 and under or 500 and under are still very hot
Yeah,
price point.
for sure. And but it is a very good point to make that has lessened. It's not as strong. It's not as happening as much. I imagine with those properties that are just wham bam, they're just perfect, just great location, great setup. They're asking a reasonable price for. I think it's still happening in those on those properties, but um, definitely gonna get better for buyers in that area.
Right. But then you also got to think because I'm always thinking all these people, the buyers that were sidelined, I'm starting to get super busy again. I mean, I'm always busy, but
Yeah,
I'm starting to get super busy again with people wanting to come to Vegas and waiting for the fall to buy because of the weather's a lot better than summertime. They can come and visit and not be in the extreme heat, and moving is a lot easier. So I'm starting to see an uptick in busyness for my end. So I'm wondering if this busyness, these people that were waiting now going to buy, is going to cause again another little boost.
I think it is, and I think it has been. It's just still not at that frenzied pace. These are buyers that did wait on the sideline, a lot of them, like you said, and they're going to be a little bit more frugal with how they deal with things. Not just because that's their mindset, but also because it's what they can do, they can afford to do. And some of them are looking to purchase a property and fix it up or make it more modern. So they know that if I want to do that, I can't go in and spend a bunch of money on the front end over my down payment and all that, So,
Yeah,
but
I had a lot of clients. I'm sorry.
that's all. I've definitely seen the uptick myself.
I had a lot of clients. I mean, I get a lot of leads every month, and a lot of them have backed out because the prices are pretty much the same where they're from in California now. That's how crazy the
Yeah.
Vegas market had gotten. So they're like, well, why should I move and just stay where I'm at in California? But the point of moving to Vegas wasn't just because of you can get more bang for your buck. It's also to take advantage of the property taxes and the no state income
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah, yeah, definitely more comfortable situation for a lot of people. Um, I I will say that I think this is a great point to make. It's buyer fatigue.
You're
It's
you're
happened.
cutting
It's
up.
been happening here. Local buyer fatigue. Hey, pupper. Um,
You everything you just said was kind of like you're
okay, yeah,
frozen.
you froze on me too.
Shut up.
You're freezing right now too. Okay, so local buyer fatigue is what's happening.
Yes, buyer
Uh,
fatigue.
and the local buyer fatigue has been happening for a while, because the
Busy.
local the local buyers have they people that have been here, they're like, dang, look at these prices go skyrocket, and they're like, hold up, this is not what the threshold to somebody who's been in Las Vegas is used to. Somebody in California had a higher threshold, but they have been feeling that fatigue as well. And so that is something that has been holding people back, the buyer fatigue, as they call it.
Yes. So we have a quick question from Ocean. It says, "Hey, do you see the becoming oh, do you see that becoming something permanent, the housing prices being the same as Cali?"
I don't. I mean, not right now. I think there's a number of reasons why California has higher prices, um, and I think that those reasons don't generally change. You know what I'm saying? Now, in time, the way that things are there, this gets into a lot of the structure of how California is economically. Will that affect things? I mean, I don't know. I don't see Vegas being able to truly compete with California what it is overall.
Right.
I mean, California's, San Diego. Come on. I mean, are we ever going to have the same prices as San Diego?
Or San Francisco?
Certainly not San Francisco, just because of the makeup of again, the economy there, the tech that's in
Right.
that area. Um, yeah, so I think there will always be, they're always going to be a little higher here. We're always going to be the value, and for certain reasons that will always be that way. Now, until California breaks off and we have an ocean on our front doorstep, uh, then things could change.
Perfect. So we're going to switch over to tips for selling this fall. And we kind of touched base on the first tip for mine. My tip is price your home correctly. Don't overprice your home, because once a home is on the market for 2 weeks or more, even 30 days, it becomes stale. Then you're going to be decreasing the prices, and you're eventually going to be the point where we had recommend in the first place, if not lower. If you price it at market value or below market value, then
Mhm.
you have opportunity to get a higher price.
Yeah. I would rather have multiple offers telling me what my value is than me telling buyers what my value is and waiting on one to agree.
Right.
That's just kind of how I think about it. I think a tantalizing list price creates urgency. That's
Yes.
what I actually wrote on my note here. So a tantalizing list price creates urgency. And what does that mean? That means a buyer feels that they cannot mess around. They have to see the property, offer on the property, make a great offer, and do it quickly.
Right. And my other tip for sellers is don't expect the market or pricing to be like it was back in the springtime, 3-4 months ago. It's not the same market as it was 3-4 months ago. It's not as competitive, right?
Well, it's just that was historic. That
Yes,
was unprecedented. We'd never seen anything like it. Just a bulldozer of an absolute unbelievable market with incredibly low inventory.
right.
Boom. No, we aren't the same.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So my other tip is, even though the market is still hot, always get professional photos taken.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
mean, how many
God.
times did we have to hammer that last year in the Robin Ann show?
Well, it's clearly still happening. And where I see it the most is on those overlisters. The agent goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll take your listing," and then they're out there with their camera. Bzz,
Right.
bzz. Like what? No, I wouldn't. I would never. Even if it was a practice run at doing a listing, I would be like, "All right, let's get some awesome photos."
Right. My tip is, if ask your real estate agent if they use a professional photographer, and if they don't, then can them.
Yeah. Well, people fall in love online before they ever step inside the home.
Right.
And I would actually add to that that something that I've been doing a lot is making sure that I have a video on YouTube of the home, because you find that these out of state buyers, they can't get here as easily. They're having to
Right.
trust their agent. Um, and I think that when they see that there's a walkthrough of the home with a little bit more elaboration from myself or whoever you decide to have do the video as an agent, it just sells the property a little bit more. And certainly on those really great properties, you're missing out on a potential. I mean, for me as an agent, I might get a buyer through that. So that's kind of silly not to do what I like to do anyway.
Right.
Film
Videos
stuff.
where it's at. As you
Yeah.
know, we are on YouTube, right?
Right. Right.
All right,
So
Mr. Vacation, you and your little comments. You're being a
was
little
even
fake guy. This guy. My tip for real estate agents is, don't expect any tips. Yeah, we don't get tips.
oh yeah, well, hello. I really don't expect anything until it's closed.
Right.
It's the way it
Um,
is.
yeah, we don't get paid until the deal's closed. We work for free until that happens. So my other Izzy, come on, girl. My other tip is, just because it's a hot market and homes are kind of still flying, still clean your house to the nine, declutter, depersonalize, and have it, make it move-in ready, because those
Mhm.
houses, if it's priced right, move-in ready, clean, free of your personal items, then it's going to sell fast.
Yep. You know what I call it? It's the 1 foot out the door approach.
Right.
I want my seller to look like they've got 1 foot out the door. They are ready to roll if you give them the right offer.
Right.
And some people go, well, that takes all the mystery out of it. Well, no, if you list your property for sale, it's not a mystery that you're trying to sell the home. And what you want to do is send the signal that I'm ready to do that when you bring me what I'm looking for.
Right.
You know, I will add real quick, a great property will stand out because in this time, again, this is about fall and going into winter, a great property will stand out because there are a lot of crappy properties that are left over on the market. This is more of a traditional thought, but I think we're going to see this. We're going to continue to see this, and why our inventory will continue to go up. Overpriced, crappy properties.
Yeah.
Just the best way. It's the most basic way I'm going to describe it. And if you have a great property and do all the things Ann just said, you're going to stand out, and it's going to sell in this market very well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sellers in the springtime had no problem selling, but now again, we're shifting, and you always have to prepare for the shift, and photos, cleanliness, etc. And then another thing that I'm going to see is, or advice for sellers is, if you do have equity and you know that you're going to be on the verge of foreclosure, your forbearance is ending, now is still a great time to sell. Take advantage of it, because who knows what's going to happen next spring, how the prices are going to be.
Yeah, if I'm in that situation and I really truly know that it's the end of the line, I'm either gonna get it yanked, they're gonna start the foreclosure process. I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of this, but I know it's there. And we're talking to somebody out there that this is happening to. it's time to sell and do it quickly before other people all at the same time do it. Now, I actually don't think that's going to happen, but there might be more, and that might soften the market more, and that is going to hurt your bottom line. You should sell like a traditional seller right now, not like a distressed property.
Right.
That's my advice.
Yep.
And your advice.
Yes. Do you have any other good advice?
I do. I have one other thing that I think is important to add to the seller and buyer list of really kind of a pro reason, a positive reason to sell during the fall and to the winter. Vendors are more available. As you know, they have been, when I speak of vendors, I mean like your
Contractor.
contractors, your landscapers, everybody that's going to do work on your property, the movers, et cetera, et cetera. They're more available at this time of year, and they slow down. In Vegas, the weather gets nice for them. They still want to work at a leisurely pace on a couple of properties through, depending on the contractor. And they might give you a better deal. They might be more available. It's going to be, incremental right now because everything's been more expensive, but I still think that's a point to make for both buyers and sellers. So a seller that's getting their property ready, we're going to be able to get people out and get those things done more easily, depending on the amount that needs to be done. And then the buyer that buys a property and wants to fix it up, I think you're going to have a little bit easier time finding the vendors.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
there you go.
Very good point. Was that it?
Yeah. Well, I could go into the cons of selling during this time, and it's very brief.
Okay, if it's brief,
It's very brief. Well, the holidays are busy. Not everybody can sell during this time, but that is one reason why I think it's a good time to sell. So I would kind of, get a twofer on that one.
Right.
There's generally less buyer activity. So if you're a seller, you might have generally less buyer activity. But again, we're kind of preaching that this year is going to be a little different still. The landscaping on your home may not be as nice. Now, right now, it's going to be great. In fall in Vegas is almost like a springtime event. It's just beautiful. But as you enter into the winter months, of course, the beautiful landscape photos and things aren't going to be as nice. The weather might not be as nice as you get into really more of the winter times. You start getting windy and, all this junk. We don't have terrible winter weather, but in other places in the country, they certainly do. And that's a big reason why the traditional time is not to sell during the winter. If you go to areas where it snows and gets crazy weather there, that's a big reason why they don't do that.
Right.
I think also the season is generally for buying gifts and not houses. So buyers are focused on other things. If you can brave those rapids, though, this is an opportunistic time for both sellers and buyers, especially this year. That's my thought.
Right. Yeah, because last year I was nonstop. Thanksgiving weekend, I was getting people calling me on Thanksgiving and crap. But
I expect it to be pretty busy. One last thing I would add: as a buyer, you might expect slightly longer time frames depending on sellers' needs, because of those holidays and things,
Right.
So when you have to drop holidays in, your loan takes a little bit longer. And also there are potential needs on the seller side for them to be able to do what they need to do to move and things like that. So
very good. So I have just a note that fair market value attracts buyers. Overpricing never does. The first 2 weeks of marketing are very crucial, and the market never lies, but it can change its mind.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly can change its mind. And I think the wonderful thing about real estate in generally speaking, is that it changes its mind relatively slowly.
Right.
Like we're not like Bitcoin or the Wall Street, where one day you wake up and it's just, it's a slow thing generally. And even in 2008, when everything went bonkers and crashed, it took the full expression of that crash took till late 2011. So there you go.
It didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual decline each year.
I mean, obviously the big move the big thing that happened quickly.
Right.
And in relatively for the housing market, that was a house of cards, truly, where once the first cards went down. But in general, I think that's very different. I think we're in a very different place right now. People talk about crashing, and I'm like, no, maybe a slow, very, very slow tumble, but not a crash.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see. Stay tuned in 2 weeks. We'll be posting the numbers,
Hmm.
but I still want to. There's a few more topics I want to talk about. We
Yeah.
talked about the tips for buying and selling, but I also want to go over new construction, which I sell a lot of, and I like to talk a lot about new construction. And this, in my mind, tells me, or how it shows me as an indicator, how the market's slowing down when the builders are slowing down and they have lots of lots still available and they're not selling the lots. Before, builders had wait lists, they were selling the lots like hotcakes. There were bidding wars on the lots. That's not the case right now, except for maybe in the lower priced homes,
Yep.
400 and under KB homes,
Hmm.
those type of builders, they do still have wait lists. But for example, I just wanted to go over Summerlin, the new village called Red Point in Red Point Square Village. Toll Brothers, Cadia Ridge, when that first came alive, before even the model homes, that place was selling like hotcakes. They couldn't even
Hmm.
keep the lots. So as of today, which is September 30th, they have 12 lots available. And what I'll notice is pricing may not see a decrease in pricing for new construction, but where you will see the decrease first is going to be in your lot premiums.
Yep. Lot
Okay.
premiums, and they might even, have. Could you believe the word incentive might come back?
Right. Well, some builders do offer incentives when it comes to closing costs if you use their in-house
Yeah.
lenders. So then in Carmel Cliff by Pulte Homes, they have a lot premium, two of them. One's 500 and one's 400,000, which is kind of cray cray. But they have now 7 lots available. And before, they were releasing lots and they were going. Now that they have all these backflow, which I'm surprised that they're releasing so many lots and having so many lots available, because in the past they won't release it until
They
they
limited
sold.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, real quick, back to Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers, as a side note, takes up to, if not more, 12 plus months to build.
Yeah.
All of Toll Brothers communities.
Hmm.
Mesa Ridge, 15 plus. So then Pulte Homes takes 8 to 11 months to build. And then we have Castellana by Taylor Morrison, which is just recently opened. They don't even have the model homes available. They have 10 spec inventory lots available and 6 dirt lots. So that's 16 lots that people aren't buying.
Yeah. It's clearly reached a precipice.
And
We've
then
Yeah.
Savannah has by Taylor Morrison has 7 spec inventory and 6 dirt lots. So my question is, and I'm going to go over Red Point Square Village and their new construction. But my point is are they going to start decreasing the prices? And if so, when?
Well, yeah. The answer is yes. And
Right.
when is soon.
Well,
I
I know
mean,
that Pulte is starting to offer back. I don't know I think they were at 2.5 or 2% to real estate agents. I get emails all the time now from Pulte, and they must be desperate saying, we
4%.
offer 3% right now of what I've
Yeah.
seen.
I've seen some 4% come in on certain properties, mostly in the higher price ranges.
Right.
But yeah.
So then with Red Point Square Village, and there will be 2 new communities in Red Point, which are by Tri-Point Homes. It's called Kings Canyon and Overlook, which will be open next month, probably towards the end of next month. I'm looking forward to that. But for Red Point Square, Obsidian by Woodside has 7 lots available, and Cascades by Taylor Morrison has 4 spec homes and 5 dirt lots. So I'm seeing a slowdown in the new construction in Summerlin.
Yep.
I don't know
That's
how it is the rest
that's
of the
that's
valley.
I think that's just, the first place that's gonna start to see that. I mean, if you think about it this way, the new homes are kind of, when we saw this historic thing happen, the new homes were the place that people sort of had to go to. There
Right.
was the resales, no inventory. So they ended up last, not, I don't want to call it last resort because people love new homes, right? But
Right.
when they realized the resale market had so few options available, new homes became very, they became number one. They became very um, popular. And now we're on the other side of that. And I think we just talked about the deal shoppers, or the ones that have been on the sidelines, and those people are looking for something probably a little bit more reasonable, but still in Summerlin, resale, whatever, and so they're not going to be their first stop at new homes. Maybe they'll check that out to compare, but then
Right.
they'll kind of go and see what's going on and maybe go for the resale because it's going to cost them a little less. Um, so that is a natural thing I think you would see. Now, the other side of this is that the new home builders, I think they're probably, all the builders are thinking ahead to the spring. So they'll probably start edging back what they have available. I'd say right now we might be seeing the top of what they actually want to show is available, and they'll kind of pull back a little bit. They don't want to stop their, they had such a hard time building these places that they
Right.
don't want to stop the flow of work to the workers that they had a hard time even getting and being able to get for a while there.
Right.
So they're going to get caught up, make sure that they keep those the means that they have to keep building going. But I think they're probably looking ahead to spring, to where they think things will get back up again. This year has been a boom for them, and that probably makes them pretty happy to be able to say, okay, so we had historic times on the front end, and we're going to get back to a little bit more traditional time on the back end, and they're still selling. It's not like they're not selling.
No. Yeah. Right.
They're just back to a medium pace compared to where they were.
Right. Yeah. Because I just went under contract with Skye Canyon Mont Rose Collection over there by Toll Brothers.
Hmm.
And they just had their national sales event incentive, which probably helped with Toll Brothers sales. I just can't believe Toll Brothers takes a year to build when the other builders are doing it less than 8-10 months. You know what I mean?
Well, I think in my mind, that's representative of their quality control and
True.
how they build a better home. I mean, I don't know if that statement is exactly true, but it would be an evidence to that in my mind.
Right. Real quick, speaking of new construction, I went, have you ever been to Heritage yet at Stonebridge, that new 55 plus community?
Heritage at Stonebridge, I haven't been to. I was at the other one. Yeah, the one in Summerlin South. So
Regency. That's
Regency, there you go.
so this new community, I went and showed homes last weekend, and I know one of the sales reps, so she met us there. And before, when I did video tours, I didn't know what was an upgrade and what comes with it, and I didn't realize basically you really cannot change any of the structural options
Hmm.
in Lennar. You really can't update much, maybe flooring, but a lot of that comes as is. That's the way the house is included. That's why they call it the everything included package.
Right. Yeah. Lennar is they're not flexible at all with what they do. They
No.
might have a floor plan that you can turn from a den to a fourth bedroom or something like that, but they are not, you're getting the tub surround,
Yes.
and
You're
then if
getting
you
a
want to
true
change
builder
it,
grade.
yeah, yeah. If you want to change that, you have to have it built and then have it ripped out and have somebody else do it.
Right. And all
That's
they
the
do is the 42-inch cabinets. I mean, they're very limited. And you can tell in the model homes that all the things that they insert are builder grade. They look builder grade.
Yeah. Yeah, they have really backed off on a lot of the things and even when they say everything included, that has changed so much, because it used to be that you did get kind of a deal when you went to Lennar. I thought, at least I thought, okay, cool, they include these nice stylings and whatever, you name it, throughout the house. They might have had a few things, and then they just kind of would back off of that. Oh, no sales agents, no I don't want to get into complaining about them too
Right.
much, but I think it's a reflection of how they've decided to run their business, and I see it. It's not really everything cruddy included, is what I would say right now.
Right. Right.
I hate to say it, but it's true.
Oh, and so then there will be 4 new communities coming in the fall for Red Point Village, which would be Cordillera by Toll Brothers, which is a condominium community. It's it's a condominium townhouse with 3 stories, a rooftop deck, garage. Then you have Morrow Point, which is just a replica of Morrow Rock. And they just built it right across the street from Morrow Rock by Richmond American, and then Lennar will have Highline 1 and 2, which are all condominiums. So Red Point Village is more of the condominium,
Townhome.
lower end townhome
Mhm.
type of village compared to Red Point, which is more the higher end village.
So yeah, this is definitely a product that is necessary. The condo and townhome products are super popular because they can be the price is something that people can get into. Um, so it's smart that they're building those. It's good.
Do you have anything you want to talk about? Oh,
I have something real quick I wanted to mention. First of all, I am wearing one of my, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to show it. Let me see. I'm wearing one of my new shirts.
ah,
Yeah, let me see. I have to do the opposite movement on camera. But yeah, I got new shirts, and
cool.
of course the Rob Howe Rockstar Realtor on this side. It's Elite Realty on the back. It's my website. But I got these because I'm doing I've sponsored the Teddy Bear Run this year.
Aw,
Yeah, and that's it's for, it's United Healthcare does this every year, and it's a run that is going on the 16th of October, and I will be there with a little booth, and I'll have my shirts available for people just to grab one. They are
cool.
high quality, awesome Rockstar
Where'd you get
shirts.
them?
Well, I got a friend in the business, and I've been, the music thing. I know how to get T-shirts. um,
Whoops.
I'm showing my cabinet over there. That's not fun. But yeah, so I actually have 2 entries to that. If you're a runner and you like to get out and do a run, I'm gonna have some. You can look up Teddy Bear Run to get the details on it. I think it starts at 8 in the morning on Saturday the 16th. So if you want a entry into that, let me know. I might do a little contest depending on how many people I get interested in it. But I'm going to do a video on my YouTube to have all the details about it. Teddy Bear Run.
Very cute. Well, we have about 17 people watching. Does anyone have any questions about or any questions about our tips for buying and selling for this fall? Right?
Yeah.
Or topics you want us to discuss next, Robin Ann's Real Estate Hour.
Yeah. What's really on your mind?
And stay tuned in 2 weeks. We should have September numbers. So that's going to be interesting. Do you want to make any wages for what predictions are for September numbers?
I don't know. This is where I think, I'm wondering if we stay about the same. That's about where I think we're at. Maybe just a slight decline.
I was thinking we're going to decrease by 5,000.
Yeah, that's where my mind was. If we have a decline, it's going to be about 5,000.
All right, guys, you heard it first. We said that the median price is going to decrease by 5,000 next month.
That means it would be 400,000, right?
Um,
Because it was 405 the last 2 months, wasn't it?
405? Yeah. I
Yep.
thought for some reason it went to 415 already. Best to buy a top TH or lesser ideal single fam.
Top townhome.
Yeah,
A top townhome. What does that mean?
I don't know. We don't know
Like
what mod
like
mode.
an awesome one. Yeah,
Best
townhomes are
to buy a
great.
top townhome or a lesser ideal single family.
Yeah, maybe that's where they're just kind of saying that's where the deals are in the market or something. I don't know. I got to tell you, that's a very hot
Or
territory.
maybe he's saying, is it better to buy a townhome in a higher price or a single family in a lower price?
I think that really depends on need. What you're looking for. Like, for example, one thing for sure you're kind of not going to be able to do in a townhome is if you need a larger backyard.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do it. Pretty few. Although there are some out in the oh God, what's that community by Lennar out north? They have larger. Get with me on that if you really need to know. They are the one townhome that I know it feels like a single family home, including the backyard. But so if you need that, you're going to be looking at single family residence homes that probably are a little bit older too. Although there are some newer ones with some yard that you could look at.
Right. So then we have another question. Looking to buy a home in Vegas around 500K plus or minus 50K in the spring. How competitive is this segment compared to entry level homes?
Well, and this was like, I mean, the 400 to 500,000 range has really been incredibly competitive. It has eased up a little bit, but really for that really great property, you can expect competition for it.
Well, entry level homes nowadays is over 300,000, 350,
Yeah,
400.
yeah. 400 is probably, 375, 400, just depending on what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, 500,000 in
It just
Summerlin.
depends on location too.
Yeah, 500,000 in Summerlin. Hot area.
Right.
Really tough to find a good property there for that money. I mean, you can find it. It's just not
What's
as,
missing?
yeah, it really, you have to kind of ease up on your expectations a little bit there. Maybe a $500,000 home in Southern Highlands or Mountain's Edge is going to be a little bit easier, or Providence.
Northwest, yeah.
You're gonna find a nice property there for that kind of money. Very nice, I think. Yeah, and then even in Henderson, you could probably do pretty well. Although Green Valley is kind of second to Summerlin as far as how hot an area it is. So Green Valley's in Henderson, if you don't know that.
Any other questions, folks, before we sign off? Oh, here we go. Watercolors in North Las Vegas is probably the cheapest place to get a new build townhouse or house. The planned area, 4 pools and multiple playgrounds, parks, and is pretty incredible, but it's 2 blocks from the ghetto. Oh, I've never heard of watercolors.
I want to say I've had some emails about it coming up and being started. This is probably a product that is meeting a need for a lower priced new homes in this area. I don't know. I don't want to say anything about 2 blocks from the ghetto, but if it is, that is definitely something to take into mind. There usually is a reason why you're getting something for less. And I would say this: look at the crime rate in the area wherever you buy.
Crimemaps.com.
Yep. Always look at the crime rate in the area where you buy, and make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing. That's my best advice there.
Yeah, watercolors. Oh, do you know, Chris, who the builder is, or is there multiple builders? I need to do research because I usually know what's going on, especially with new construction.
Yeah. I mean, that's like an area like, what is it, Valley Vista?
Yeah.
I like that area a lot. Some people go, "Oh, it's in North Las Vegas," and there's some stigma to North Las Vegas. But this area is great. And again, look at the crime rates, and you'll go, "Okay,
Well,
all new over there."
Elkhorn and Decatur off north of the 215, so it's still kind of in between the northwest quadrant and then in between Aliante and the northwest. Very good area.
Yep.
All right. We've been on for 50 minutes.
Yeah, wow. Damn, that went by.
Yep. We like to talk. So
we lost 10 minutes though by not starting on time.
No, because it's the time Started
I'm
the
just kidding.
touchstone living or something like that. Oh, okay. I'll have
Oh,
to look.
Touchstone. Yeah, okay.
Touchstone.
They
Touchstone.
don't like to give commissions.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I didn't recommend it to anybody.
Whoops. No, they don't, and that's just too bad. But I give it time. They'll be back. Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. They will be back. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate your feedback, your support of my channel. Rob has a channel. What's your channel, Rob?
Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor on YouTube.
On YouTube. And if you want to watch some of our old show, we used to have a show called the Robin Ange Real Estate Show. Now we're doing this, the Robin Ange Real Estate Hour. Take a look at that. We have a lot of funny videos. I have lots of characters. But anyway, if you don't have any more questions, leave comments on the description below from that. And
Share it.
share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching.
Rock on, folks.
And do it peacefully.
We'll see you on the next one, huh?
Peace out.
Later.